Hello.
Hi. Hey.
Oh, you look wonderful.
Thank you. So do you.
Thank you. What's up?
Oh my gosh, so much. I've just been working. I've been dancing. I've been working on my own projects that I want to do and create, and it's so much all at the same time, but I'm really happy and it's really fulfilling to do what I really love to do. So
It shows. It shows you have this glow about you that's like,
oh, thank you.
but you've always have. So Jozzy, that's who we have today. I love it. She has the sweetest, I don't know, first word was heart, demeanor. You're around this woman and you just feel love. And she gives you this sort of energy, that you start want to move. You just move through life. She's an artist of all trades. She's a singer. She's a songwriter. She is a dancer living in Los Angeles. Joscelyn Ba'ez. Joscelyn.
Yay.
We love you and miss you at Performing Arts Studio West.
Oh, I love you and miss you guys too so much. I was so looking forward to today, like so much. I was so excited.
Oh my gosh. Well, we are so excited. I told everybody that you were coming and then everybody, oh my God. Yeah, it's nice. I want to start something off because you have brought so many people joy by just being you. And especially it's at the school and of course outside in the world. What brings you the most joy in life?
Ooh, what brings to me the most joy in life? Wow, that's a loaded question. What brings me the most joy is just, honestly, it's helping people. Like, of course, what brings me joy is my art, like my passion, dance, performing, all of that. But
right.
It hits different when I'm using it to help other people or inspire someone or help heal someone. It's a totally different type of experience that has a deeper effect on me, and it just lasts longer. So yeah.
I could see that coming from you. I could see that. It's sort of, it flows through your pores, so to say,
Yeah.
Now, I noticed, I read that you, at age 10, you started your dance career. Is this true?
Yeah, I did. So at 10 years old, I started training in ballet. It was a dance company in Ohio. It was a really small one. I don't remember exactly what it was called. I was there for about a year or two. And then when I was 12 years old, that's when I started at the big ballet company in Ohio, in Columbus, called Ballet Met. So I started at about 10, and then at 12, I transitioned to the ballet company in Columbus.
And I noticed the first two, when I was reading through it, I know you do all different kinds of dance, but the ones I saw, ballet and ballroom. And was there a certain order of dance that you went through, or how did it go?
Yeah, there was. So the order, it started off with ballet, but my influence started off before that because my dad was a hip hop dancer. He was a b-boy. He's from New York, so he grew up street dancing. So even before the ballet, he would teach me stuff around the house. And I always wanted to learn more. And my mom danced salsa. So I grew up around that, like Latin dance and hip hop, but my training started in ballet. And then from there, in the ballet dance company, through my scholarship program that I was on, I did Afro-Caribbean dance, modern dance, jazz. The ballroom, and hip hop didn't come until later on in life. The hip hop started in high school a little bit, but mostly around college. College was, I was still doing ballet and things like Pilates, and performing in modern dance, but I started to shift my focus more to ballroom and hip hop. And I realized I had more strengths in those areas, and I always gravitated more towards that. So even with ballroom, the styles that I focused on were the American rhythm styles. So cha-cha, mambo, rumba. So it was all, most of them were Latin based, and that's what I ended up competing in, performing in, all of that.
Do you have a favorite?
A favorite dance style, like out of all of those?
I know, it's like choosing your baby.
All those. I would have to say, I'd probably have to say salsa. Like sometimes it changes sometimes over a few years, then I have a different favorite. But right now, I like salsa is just my favorite. I love partner dancing.
And it's so nice, especially now that we're getting out of quarantine and out of this pandemic, that now it's like you can actually grab on to a partner, you know?
Yeah, there's actually, there's still a lot of salsa clubs here that are closed, like a lot of professional salsa dancers and people who just do it as a hobby that go to those clubs to practice.
Yeah.
And most of those places are still closed right now, but there's an event on Venice Beach where people are outside on the beach dancing. And it's such, I went to it for the first time like a week ago, and it was so beautiful. It was so nice. Everyone was outside in the fresh air. There was a DJ outside, people just dancing with each other. It was so beautiful. Like I've missed that so much, like the energy of everyone dancing with each other and the music, the fresh air and the sunshine. Like it was so nice.
Oh, you know, and I'm hearing this come from you right now. And today I woke up and I did something different than I haven't done in a long time. I woke up and I said, I'm going outside. And I took my acidophilus, my probiotics.
Yes.
I put on a lightweight jacket because there was a little breeze going on, but it was such a beautiful breeze. I opened the door and the sun, the breeze, the air, the birds, the dogs running through the grass. Oh, I'm going to do it every day. It's
you have to. It's so healing. We were made for that. We were made to be around that.
I know that beside dance, you are such a healer. And what for that? And I mentioned before we started that my back has gone out, which hasn't happened like almost in 3 years like this. So I'm gonna, what is the best way for a person, let's say, whether they're a dancer or whether they're in the business or not in the business, what is the best way to take care of yourself?
Oof. The best way to take care of yourself. Oh my gosh, there's so many different ways. Well, I think the best way to take care of yourself is focusing on how you are internally, because, most of the time, any type of physical ailment or pain we feel has to do with something that's going on internally. And it's been scientifically proven. And it hasn't really been proven until more recent years, where it's all connected to your emotions and everything. So I think the best type of healing is to go internally, spiritually with yourself, and emotionally, psychologically, and just digging deep. Like a lot of our problems that we have, whether it's depression or I know people who have suffered with a lot of different types of joint pain, and they also struggle with holding on to something from their past. And then every time they get even more depressed over a childhood trauma or something, they wake up and they're in even more pain. And I know that actually happens to me too. So I think the most important type of healing you can do is just internally digging deep in yourself and going through your past, which is really uncomfortable. Things that we've been through, like you have to go in deep because then it starts within yourself, and then you'll start to experience more healing outwards.
Now, for those who don't know how to go inside and heal, I mean, for example, one of the things that I do to do that is I close my eyes, and I'm good at visualization, so I could see my favorite color, which is like blue, and I just scan my whole body. Is there certain ways that I mean, if there is one way, for example, I mean, there's so many different ways, but what's one way that you do how to clear it out?
Wow, that's a really good one. I actually haven't heard that one before, of imagining a color. And that makes so much sense. That's interesting you said that, because the past 2 days, I've really been thinking about colors for some reason, and how healing colors actually are. And I was speaking to an artist, he was actually my Uber driver, and he said there's a whole science behind colors. Like, seeing a certain color a lot will invoke a certain type of healing in you, a certain mood.
Yeah.
And it goes really deep. So that's really cool you said that. I'm probably going to start doing that.
Well, and it's so interesting too. And, I just go off what, where the conversation goes, and this, that, and the other, and also the visual. And I see that beautiful pinkish, bright pink color on your shirt. And I think, ooh, it's sort of like, I'll take that in. I'll put that where, right to the back, and just see it pulsating.
Yeah. I mean, so to answer your question, as far as what I do, there's a lot of different things that I do, but water is really healing for me. Water. So I will, whether it's soaking in a shower for a half hour, where even when I'm done washing myself, I let the water run over me. And specifically cold water, sometimes I feel like it really washes off certain things that I feel. Baths, I'll soak in a bath, or the ocean. The ocean is really cleansing for me. I love going in the salt water, like just stepping and going in the salt water, whether it's really, really early in the morning. I prefer to go when there's like no one there, like it'll be really early, or sometimes just late at night, and I want to go and just get my feet in the salt water. That and writing, journaling for me really, really helps me, because my mind is really scattered and I have 1,000 thoughts running all the time. So if I can pin down a certain thought, and writing helps me organize it and figure out the root of a problem. So it kind of, when I write, it takes me through a journey in myself. So it helps me pin something down, a specific problem, and work through it as I'm writing it down.
Right. Wow. I love that. I forget about, I have my little book here. Where is it? I have because sometimes it takes me, oh my God, to write or this or that. I even have a book that's 1 line a day. Just 1 line. And sometimes I don't get to it, but I have to keep it on me or something, because you're thank you for reminding me about that.
Yeah, no problem.
You choreograph, do you like to dance or create more? I mean, you do it all. I mean, dancing, directing. I mean, what is one of your, God, there's so many questions I had. What is one of your proudest achievements?
Oh man.
There's a lot.
Honestly, I'm getting emotional thinking about it, so I'm like, I'm a really emotional person. So, oh my gosh, my greatest achievement. It's so funny when you said that, because nobody has ever asked me that. What I felt was what is my greatest achievement. Nobody's asked me that, and it was so easy for me to think what it was. Like, it just came so easily. And I would think that if someone asked me that, it would be hard to pinpoint, because I've done so many different things, but it was so easy, and it's so pure. Like, my very first thought that came to my head was years ago when I was teaching at Inspiration to Movement, which is where I was getting trained in ballroom. Yeah. There was a little boy, he was probably, I think he was like 4. His mom brought him in the studio, and he was really rebellious, and he had autism, so he had certain ways of learning. So she didn't know where to take him. She was like, he has all this energy too, and he doesn't know how to use it. And he was hitting her a lot. He brought her into the studio, and she was like, I want to get him into dance. And as soon as she came in with him, he was hitting her and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is my student. And my mentor at the time, she was like, I wanted to give him to you because I feel like, she was like, out of everyone, you would know how to teach him. Wow. And in my mind, I was like, great, thanks. But it turned out like that was the first experience I thought of when I taught him. It was so rewarding. It was way more rewarding than performing or choreographing. And like, just to see him change. Like in my first lesson, he started hitting me. And I told him, I was like, we are not going to do this. So I sat him down and I was like, he didn't want to look me in the eye. And I was like, no, you're going to look me in the eye. And I noticed, from being closer to, his mom and knowing his experiences, a lot of people, once they knew he had autism, they would treat him differently and be like, in certain ways, use that as an excuse for him to be like, oh, well, that's why it's okay. He just hits and stuff like that. He's acting out. Nobody understood. And I was like, no, absolutely not. Like, he's really smart. Of course, like you have to treat him just like everyone else. So I sat him down. I was like, I want you to look me in the eye and we're going to talk. Like, you're not going to hit me. And I'm going to teach you how to dance. And we're going to learn how to move this energy around in you. And so that was the first thing I thought of, was that. And it was just I had so many hard lessons with him where it was difficult. Sometimes I would cry afterwards. Like after I would teach him, I would cry. But it was so amazing. And when he started to really memorize movement himself, it was so beautiful to see, and to see him start to enjoy it. I thought about that. And then I thought about you guys, and I thought about like the people's lives that I've impacted as far as teaching. I taught someone who had several strokes. I was teaching him ballroom dance, a really elderly gentleman. And he even told me, he was like, I stopped doing ballroom because of, my heart problems and strokes. And he's like, he said he knows he's near death, and he wanted to just keep dancing because he loved dance. So I think about all these situations. I think about you guys. I think about the people that I've taught that like really impacted me, even though I may have struggled teaching them, or me and my student may have butt heads sometimes, but it was always these people that just blessed me so much. Like that is my greatest achievement. Like, it's better than performing on stage or anything. Like that, to me, if I can use my talent to change someone's life, or just help heal them, or just even give them a great moment of happiness in their day, during their day.
Right.
That's achievement.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing how it can really fill your heart up.
Yeah.
And not just the heart, the whole everything. That there's that, that is a healing in itself.
Yeah.
I was reading again. I mean, you've been a backup dancer for the baby. You did music videos, including Precious. How do you go about that for the students out there who say, I want to be in a music video, I want to work with this singer or that dancer? How do you manifest that?
Whew, how do you manifest that? So it takes a lot of different things. So consistency is key, for sure. And I know that just any part of the entertainment industry, you have to be consistent, putting yourself out there, no matter how many no's you get, no matter how many opinions you get of you, consistently training. And even if my training wasn't consistent, because there are definitely times in my life where my training wasn't consistent because I needed to focus more on work to make money, or something else would come up in my life, and I would make sure, I have to make sure I go back to training. And even if not, I would still use that time to be like, okay, maybe I'll just use this time to focus a little more on applying for jobs. So honestly, There are certain ways to go about it. Like there's certain websites that you can join and make a profile to find what jobs, what auditions are going on here. And I honestly never used those. I never did when I was here in LA. It was all by word of mouth and networking. Like the people that I met, I would build a relationship with them, or they would see me dance or see my social media with me dancing, watch a video on YouTube, a dance class, and they would like me. And then they would talk to me and hire me. It was all by word of mouth and networking with people. So it's so important to put yourself out there, put out a video of you dancing, put out a video of your choreography, things about yourself, having headshots, super important. Especially with dance, because it's also visual. So they want to see your body form. They want to see your look. Besides your technique, they want to see how you dance and all that, but they want to see everything as far as your image goes. Right. So once you put yourself out there, and network with people, it comes.
Yeah. I love doing these interviews because it feeds me. It makes me remember things that I forgot, or it teaches me new things that I'm like, oh, yeah. So, and like you said, also constantly, keep on going back to the studying, to the working out. A word that I wrote down that I'm going to throw out and see what comes to your mind.
Okay.
Strength.
So you want to know what comes to my mind, like an experience, or it could be anything?
Anything.
Anything? Okay. Oof. What comes to my mind as far as strength? Oh my gosh, so many different things. I would have to say one of my first moments as far as my dance career that took strength was years ago. I was a teenager in Ballet Met, and the directors of the scholarship program and the ballet, the head, I think she was the head of the student ballet department at the time. She met with me and my mom. She set up a meeting. And of course I was nervous. I was like, am I in trouble? We get there. She tells me that I don't have the right body type for ballet. Uh-huh. And she said, we can't let you do point anymore because the way your ankle is formed, you could potentially end up hurting yourself and permanently paralyzing yourself.
Really?
Yeah. And they said they were so nervous to tell me because they knew I loved dance. And I was like, when I sat there, I was like, to be honest, it doesn't hurt me so much because I knew ballet wasn't my strength anyway. And I didn't love ballet. I liked it, and it was a great foundation. It built a lot of strength in me and discipline, but I never wanted it to be my focus. But even in that moment, even though I didn't really internalize it and feel a certain type of way, I realized later on in my dance career, and as the years went along, those words really affected me. And I started to feel like I'm not good enough. My body type is never going to be good enough. I had a dance teacher tell me, she's like, because of your body type, you're going to have to work harder than everyone else to dance.
Do you think those comments hurt or help? From those other teachers or people that you were around you growing up?
It hurt more than helped, but there was an element that it helped, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. It built something in me, a certain layer of my character, because I knew I loved to dance. So when they would say that, it would really hurt me. I would cry. I would have moments whenever I felt any type of failure with dance or in dance class, I would go back to what they said every single time. And I was like, oh, this is the evidence that what they're saying is true. So everything started to go back to that every single time, every single failure. And then I didn't realize how much I, over time, started to let it affect my self-esteem. But at the same time, it built like such a resilience. And it was almost like I started to rebel. I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to try to dance even more now. So it had both sides to it. And then it's interesting because when I started dancing at Inspiration to Movement, when I told my ballet teacher there, she looked at me and she was like, that is such a lie. She was like, they said that because they wanted a certain type. They wanted a really tall, long, skinny, because ballet is like that. You know what I mean? And they didn't care that I wanted to do other styles. They're like, well, she doesn't have the ballet type. So we're going to tell her that, you know, you're not going to be good for this pretty much ever. And she said, what they told you about you not being able to do point was just baloney. Like she said, I've never heard of that in my life. And she's professional. Like she danced in New York, amazing ballet dancer, ballerina, my old mentor.
Yeah.
And me and her are still friends. We're like family. Like I love her. So talented. She started her own dance company in Ohio, but she went through a similar thing where people told her that she, you know, her legs were too big. Like she was too muscular for ballet, but she's an amazing ballet dancer.
Yeah.
So me and her connected on that level. And she was like, no, like you're going to train with me. And everything they said is not true. That's not true about you. So it ended up turning out to be something really beautiful where I was able to, you know, to connect with another dancer on a deeper level like that. But yeah, there's so many times I cried, like thinking about how I wasn't good enough.
But you pursued and you went on, and it's those people who go through it, especially in this business, who make such a big success for themselves and of themselves. I mean, I could just do a full hour, 2 hours with you because there's so much that you have. I wanted to get to the Haunting, which was a music video that you did. You do what was your part into that?
So what I did, I actually created this concept after I got out of the mental hospital. So in 2014, I was admitted to a mental hospital for attempted suicide. So I went through a lot of different types of abuse in my life, and I hit this wall and I just crashed. When I got out was when I really started to focus on dance at the studio Inspiration to Movement. And my mentor, she took care of me. Like she took me in, she started training me. They sponsored me basically. So they trained me for free while I started working for them, and they trained me to be a teacher, all of that. During that time, I was like, I just really wanted to express what it's like to go through depression and fight your own demons. So I chose the song called The Haunted by Beyonce. I think that's what the song is called.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I used that song and I came up with a choreography, a duet with my friend. He actually lives here in LA too. He moved here from Ohio. So I choreographed a duet, and I wanted him to symbolize the depression and suicide. And it was me going in and out of this relationship with him and struggling. Yeah. So the beginning scene is just me dancing alone and just going crazy, moments of like psychotic break of just like freaking out. And then near the end, there's a duet, a struggle with him. And my friend is a videographer. They lived in Ohio at the time, so they recorded it. I danced in it, I choreographed it, and I worked on the directing side. So I told her what angles I wanted. We went over the editing, like how I wanted the edits with the song, all of that. So I created that. It's a little dance film, and I was public speaking at the time in Ohio too. So I had it screened at certain events, like the general attorney's office. They had an event about abuse. And so they screened it there, and I loved it. Like I had so much fun with that project.
Wow. You know, it's interesting. I'm just taking it in again, and it's about, you know, we all have different stories. We all have different paths, and we have those hills and valleys in life. And if you continue and move through them, you can create amazing and healing stuff for yourself as well as others through your art. And that's what you do. That's what you do.
Thank you.
You're such a blessing.